Hello, my name is Cheryl Belford and I'd like to welcome you to this presentation. My journey to openness began with the manufacture of PowerPoint presentations for in-class use to decrease cognitive load. At the same time, given my involvement in multiple subjects in transportation in both the diploma and BTEC programs, I also created some videos, a series of them in fact, to assist students in design software and to just stop repeating myself, quite frankly. And also at that time I started to develop competencies in Google and scribing and audio clip and the like. My products were always available on the local in-house IT drive, so students could access them at any time, but also other lecturers that then took on the subjects would use the products. Inevitably, my next step would be to join an OER group such as the CPUT one. And then this happened. Fees must fall. It was a gradual build-up in the middle portion of semester 2 2016, but when it did happen, it still caught us by surprise. So we were a product of wherever our experience was at that moment in time. My response was as follows. I needed to complete my curriculum by teaching the remainder of the curriculum. For me, at that time, I felt that I could develop a plan, storyboard it, if you will, in PowerPoint. I could script what I wanted to say. I could specifically talk to elements that would guide them in an assessment, etc. I could video it in Camtasia or just about any other format I wanted to and select the best. Typically I would then upload this video to Blackboard. I would draft the assessment in Blackboard and then I'd release an announcement to the students. And my expectation was that I was going to track the activity and interact with them. However, the reality was that there was data restrictions for many of the students in that they simply just couldn't afford to log on. And some of them were challenged with access to computers. So this was communicated to me, and I just somehow realized that their phones were the most common piece of technology that they had, and WhatsApp was the better portal to use. So I simply took the PowerPoints that I'd used to feed the videos and I PDF'd them, and when necessary I created the audio clip again. I put it on Blackboard and I sent it, and there was an immediate change in the activity on Blackboard, and that's when the real magic happened. Absolutely, I started getting feedback, and there was an engagement between myself and the students on multiple platforms, and there was an absolute revisiting and revising and reissue of the material when necessary. And I was fortunate in that I was able to recognize this is an experience that I wanted to capture formally. So I was able to put a survey in place, and Blackboard makes it very easy to put a survey in place. I was able to put a blog in place so the students could communicate with me. Even though I used all other forms, I just put it into the blog, so there was always a repository. And of course marks and tracking were very possible with Blackboard. And then I found it very difficult last year, but subsequently I was able to provide some reflections. So if you would allow me to share my findings with you. Overarchingly, the students responded well. Worst case scenario was 80% of students responding. WhatsApp created an initial spike, but it allowed a steady flow of activity to continue. When the semester resumed, students who needed to complete the academic project elected to do it the same way the students had done during FMF. And this was really pleasing to me. I've had an opportunity since last year to really take a comprehensive look at not only the marks within last semester, but also to look at it as compared to the last 3 semesters, where the way that I conducted the academic project was very similar. And the video material I created last semester just simply was an extension of what I was doing in class. So it's very pleasing to me that I noticed that in the laboratory and the project specifically, which is part of the summative assessments, there is a very similar, strong and consistent trend in the laboratory in terms of the amount of students and the grade they're achieving. This is really great. In the project, I noticed a decrease in the lower grades and an increase in the upper grades, which is fantastic. And holistically, there was a 90% pass rate in the subject, which is fantastic. The FISA is typical. They really just don't do well in the formative assessment simply because there are always weak areas of design. Because there's a greater weighting on the summative assessment, ultimately it will be in their favor and they will pass. But their final pass marks are not very high, quite frankly. But they seem to be doing okay there. I was fortunate, as I said, to be able to put together a survey, and without a doubt it clearly indicates that the undertaking was very successful. I credit the access to technology off campus. Obviously they would complain about the cost of data and accessing a computer and things like that. So we must acknowledge that, and of course not all students will be comfortable with online learning. This is a fact. But you know, it happened, and with a bit of thematic analysis, I've just given you a few of the most popular benefits and of course drawbacks, and I just want to bring it down to this enhanced graduate attributes. You know, students really learn to become competent with technology and to manage themselves and communicate well. And here by drawbacks, I just want to draw attention to, it was very difficult to quantify the drawbacks because the percentages, as you can see, are very low. But I felt that, you know, even if one student struggled, it was relevant. So these were the most common sort of drawbacks noted here. My personal reflections, I used Hagerty's attributes of open practice to guide me into whether my process reflected attributes of open practice. And now I can honestly say that within the context of a Blackboard and WhatsApp group, closed WhatsApp group, I can honestly say that these attributes were reflected in my material and in the experience itself. And now that the students have broken it to a degree where I can't fix it anymore, you know, these videos are truly ready to be on an external platform, and subsequently then attribute 8 will be achieved. I would say that as a OEP practitioner, one must be unafraid to develop a social media presence, and that is where I'm presently developing myself. We have to grow in our technological competence so that when we are in a disrupted environment or anything similar, we can try with some success to manage our curriculums. And lastly, but maybe most importantly, we must develop trust with our students. And it's quite simple, following an old pedagogy of, you know, doing what needs to be done timelessly and with responsibility. So currently the old FMF material is truly ready for OER on an external platform, so that should be available shortly. I absolutely reused the FMF material this semester, and it's actually concluded as I'm recording this video, so I can absolutely say it works. I produced new videos and absolutely the students commented on them, so I had to revisit, revise and reissue. So my goal is to convert all of the subject matter in this particular subject to an OER environment, and this undertaking of OER will allow me to truly deepen the students' engagement with the material and you know, help them to achieve the outcomes as best as possible, and then who knows after that. So thank you for your time, and I really hope that this helps you in your practice. Bye bye.